Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the second week of writing practice for our illegal immigration essay. If you didn't check out last week's slides and video, I would definitely do that to make sure that you have a really good handle on main claims and subclaims. The main claim is going to be probably the most important thing that you write in this essay, so let's make sure we know how to do that. Hope that everyone's happy and healthy and that we're all managing to keep our stress levels down. I know the world's a little bit scary right now. But we're going to work through this together, okay? So this week we're going to focus on evidence sentences and analysis sentences. You will need three things open in front of you while this video is happening. Number one is this video, which you already have. Number two is this document that your teacher uploaded for you on Google Classroom. We are going to be pausing the video throughout, and you will have time to enter information into here, writing evidence sentences and analysis sentences, which I'll get more into later. And finally, you need your illegal immigration articles in front of you so you can go ahead and find some evidence today. So here we go. Just as a quick little review of some of the stuff we covered last week, remember in your essay, everything needs to line up or to match up. It needs to be cohesive and consistent, right? So if you mention two things in a certain order, you better be covering those two things in that specific order that you mentioned before, right? We'll get a little bit more into this as we go. As a quick little review, main claim is going to be the subject, the opinion, and two key topics why. Our subject, as we covered last week, is illegal immigration in America. Our opinion is whether amnesty or deportation is going to be the best way to solve that problem. And our topics, we have two that we pick, but there are four to choose from, right? You can pick two out of the following four. We have humanitarian reasons, economic reasons, safety security reasons, and political reasons. Our subclaim is going to follow that same exact formula. Remember, if you mentioned in your main claim, amnesty is the best because it helps the economy and it boosts humanitarian issues in America, you better have your first subclaim about the economy, and then a body paragraph to follow it filled with evidence and analysis. And your second subclaim and body paragraph better be about humanitarian purposes, right? That's what we meant by when we talked about everything needs to line up. So remember, we're going to have a topic, opinion, and reasons. Our reasons in the subclaim are going to be even more specific. They are going to be based on the evidence. So we're going to get really specific in this lesson about the subclaim, but just remember that it should really mirror your main claim. It's just going to dive a little bit deeper and get more detailed depending on which topic you mentioned. So it might be about the economy, it might be about safety security. It all really depends on what you talked about in your main claim. And then again, remember that your evidence sentence number one is going to be your first reason from your subclaim. Your evidence sentence number two is going to be your second reason from your subclaim. So as a little bit of review, your main claim might look something like this. This is an A+ example of a main claim. Deportation is the most efficient and logical solution to the issue of illegal immigration in the U.S., as it will ensure the safety of Americans and boost the economy, right? So we have, and again, we still have our subject. It's not at the very beginning, but we do see the words issue of illegal immigration in the U.S. That's our subject. We have our opinion, which is deportation is the most efficient and logical solution. And we have our two key reasons, which are safety and the economy, which we see at the very end. So, following along with this main claim, we know that we would have our first subclaim about safety. Our second subclaim would be about the economy because that's the second key reason we listed. Our first subclaim could look something like this, getting further into safety. The deportation of illegal immigrants will provide safety for American citizens by reducing crime and preventing terrorism, right? If we set up our subclaim like this and we give the two key reasons, reducing crime and preventing terrorism, we better have two ESs about those things, right? So our first would be reducing crime because we listed it first. Our second would be about preventing terrorism because we listed it second. Again, make sure it matches. So the order matters, and so does making sure your evidence sentences match up with what you said in your subclaim. If you say something about reducing crime and preventing terrorism, but then you don't have any evidence about that in your body paragraph, you're in trouble with your essay, right? So make sure that we're working on that. Again, here's some of the highlighting just to show you guys what's our subject, what's our opinion, where are our key reasons. So again, we have reducing crime being our first evidence sentence and preventing terrorism being our second evidence sentence. So we're going to do some examples in case we're confused at all about the format or what this actually looks like. An evidence sentence format. Remember, you have a few things in it, right? You have to have a transition, you have to have a contextual lead-in, you have to have a quote, and a citation at the very, very end. So transition words. Here are a few that we're listing, but they're super easy if you just Google search transition words. You can always find them. My word of advice, transition words have to also match up. So if you're on your third body paragraph and you wrote, first of all, we're having an issue, right? If it's not your conclusion and you started with in conclusion, we're also having an issue, right? Make sure that we have transition words that match where we are in the actual paragraph. If you write furthermore or additionally, you better have already had at least one example given, or else it's not furthermore or additionally, right? Your contextual lead-in here is going to be a little different than how you guys do it in English. We only focus on the who and the what, right? The who can be the author. The who can also be if you're talking about a specific person or illegal immigrants in general. And the what is kind of just what is the topic? What are you going to be telling us about, right? Giving us a little detail on that. In English, I know sometimes you guys do the whole who, what, when, where, why. We only do the who and the what. So this should be more simple. Your quote is a direct quote. You are pulling the entire quote, whichever quote that you find, you're putting it in quotation marks. A little word of advice on the quotes. Make sure that you are not finding paragraphs, right? And if it's a really, really long sentence, try to find the most important parts because we want to hear your voice too. We don't just want quotes. And finally, your citation is at the very end. It goes in parentheses and has a period after. It is the author's last name or the article title. A sample of an evidence sentence, for example, in the article, right? So we have, for example, that's our transition word. In the article, top 10 reasons for amnesty. That's our what and our who. John Robinson claims that, we have our quote, right? Illegal immigrants are the backbone of the economy and work the jobs most Americans refuse to work. And then, of course, we have our citation done perfectly at the end. One other key piece of advice, you guys, with your evidence sentences, make sure that your quote blends in with your contextual lead-in and your transition. You can't just say something like, for example, in the article, top 10 reasons for amnesty, illegal immigrants are the backbone of the economy and work the jobs most Americans refuse to work. You need to have that claims that or that whatever kind of phrase in between that makes it a full sentence. If you're struggling with this, read your evidence sentence out loud to make sure it makes sense as a sentence, okay? And if it doesn't, find those words to add in before the quote that make it do that. So take a second, see if you can find the transition, the lead-in, the quote, and the citation. I already kind of said it, but see really quick if you can find it again, okay? Okay, so those are all those things, right? We have transition, we have contextual lead-in, we have that key word that makes the whole quote and sentence make sense, we have the quote itself, and we have that citation. Your analysis sentence. Your first sentence of analysis, you infer what has not been specifically stated. Just repeating what the quote said, just taking it out of quotes, is not going to be a sufficient first analysis sentence here. Remember that you really want to focus in on what is being said and add more to it. Give us some more background information. Tell us why it's important. Give us some more information, right? Your second analysis sentence, you are going to connect to your overall argument. So if you said deportation's the best, your second analysis sentence better be you telling us this proves deportation is the best because blah, blah, blah. Some examples right here. We're using the same evidence sentence as before. Your first AS might say, so again, this is where we're elaborating, we're giving some more information. Many Americans do not want to take low-paying jobs like manual labor, landscaping, and domestic service jobs, even though these services are essential to the American economy. So you're telling us, what are some of these low-paying jobs? Why don't Americans want to take them? Are they essential to the economy? Yes, they are, right? So you're shedding some more light on the quote. Your second AS is where you really hit home, you connect back to your argument. So you're saying Robinson proves that amnesty would be the most beneficial answer to illegal immigration because immigrants will fill these jobs, ensuring there are no labor shortages and there are enough goods and services to provide for the American population. So you're really hitting home, you're really linking back to your main claim here. Alrighty guys, what we're going to do at this point, you're going to read the sample subclaim that I pull up on the slides in a second. On the Google Doc that we've already talked about, you will be writing 2 evidence sentences with analysis for each sample subclaim, right? And there are spaces for you to do that. You'll write an evidence sentence, 2 analysis sentence, an evidence sentence, 2 analysis sentences. You are going to use the articles to find the evidence, right? So we should already have some things highlighted. Shouldn't be that hard to find the evidence. And then you're going to turn in the Google Doc once the whole thing's over. And you can go ahead, do that, and we'll leave feedback for you to make sure you're doing it correctly. So the first subclaim, granting amnesty to illegal immigrants will protect the economy by keeping money flowing and the hard labor jobs filled. So this one's all about amnesty being the best solution, right? The first key reason is on keeping money flowing. The second is on the hard labor jobs will be filled. So in this organizer, your first ES should be something about keeping money flowing. Your AS should be expanding on that, saying how that links back to the prompt. And your second ES should be on the labor jobs being filled and analysis on how that's the best, right? So take a second to do that. Pause the video if you need to, because I'm going to move on to the second subclaim here. And the second subclaim, implementing the policy of deportation will protect the economy by creating more jobs for Americans and keeping money inside of the US. So this is the exact opposite, right? You're still looking for economic evidence, but you are looking for reasons that support deportation. So take a second, think of what are the 2 key reasons you see here. Which order do they need to go in for the ESs to match up and be consistent? And then find some good analysis, right? Talk about some good analysis, shed some more light on it, link it back to the prompt and your overall argument. Okay, guys, that is it for us today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing this activity. And we will reach out to you. We will give you feedback, all that kind of stuff. Remember to keep checking Remind, keep checking Google Classroom, keep checking your emails to stay up to date. Everybody have an excellent day and an excellent rest of your week. Thank you.